This will be recorded. Anyway, everybody, welcome to Kigali Foreign Affairs Council. So glad to have everybody here. One thing I want to ask, if it's possible, everybody please mute your microphone, except our guest speaker we have here today. And I hope we'll have a few minutes to take questions. If you have questions, please send them to us, and we're trying to ask as many questions as possible. Anyway, Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. We're very excited to have you here with us. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in terms of Commonwealth Summit coming here, but also the work of U.K. and Rwanda. But let's just a little bit start with the Commonwealth. The first question is, the United Kingdom has been the chair of the Commonwealth for 2 years now, and next year you handle the chairmanship to Rwanda. What have been your biggest achievement as the chairperson of the Commonwealth?
Thanks, Yannick, and good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to check, Yannick, before we kick off, I'm only seeing about 5 or 6 others on the call. Is that correct? Or
there's more people. Just they don't show up on the screen.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. In that case, yes. Let's make a start, and I'm very happy to answer your question about the progress that has been made under the UK's chair in office period. So as you say, following CHOGM in 2018, which was hosted in London in the UK, the chair in office, and during that period, we've really strengthened and renew, I think would be fair to say, the Commonwealth. And we've looked to do that through working with the 3 main pillars. So that is the Commonwealth Secretariat, collaborating closely with all member states, all of the 53 equal and independent member states, and also working really closely with the range of networks and wider organisations linked in with the Commonwealth. Back in 2018 at the UK hosted CHOGM, the UK committed to just over £500 million worth of projects and programmes to benefit all Commonwealth members in an attempt to make a more sustainable and stable future for all Commonwealth members. And these kind of projects covered a huge range of sectors, from democracy and rule of law through to human rights, trade and investment, cyber security, ocean and environment. There's a very wide range of work, and we've worked very closely with member states and with partners to implement this £500 million worth of projects. I should note, I don't probably have time to go into detail on all of those projects right now, but the Chair in Office report has recently been released, which very helpfully sets out the progress and delivery that has been achieved through the UK's chair period. So I'd encourage those who are interested to look at that. It's a public document available now.
So
and then sorry,
go
Yannick,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to wrap up the question as well, just by noting some of the wider aspects of acting as chair in office, promoting multilateralism in the rules-based international system that we all operate in, and also joint solidarity, I think, between the member states of the Commonwealth is something that we've focused on during our period as chair in office. So, for example, the joint Commonwealth statement on commitment to tackling coronavirus, and the anti-racism statement that was released fairly recently are good evidence of the Commonwealth really taking a solidarity stand on important global issues.
So, just for curiosity, for people who are not, experts on the Commonwealth, but actually, what's one of the benefits of being part of Commonwealth?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the Commonwealth, as I said, is made up of 54 individual, independent and equal countries. That's 2.4 billion people, so a third of the world's population. Within that, there's 1 billion of the world's youth and young people. And I think the benefits of the Commonwealth is really harnessing some of the diversity that we have across those huge range of member states. The Commonwealth Charter adhere to inscribes a range of shared values and principles that Commonwealth members uphold. And it's about working together to make progress on things like democracy, rule of law, trade and investment, and tackling some of the biggest challenges globally that we're all facing, like coronavirus, as I mentioned. So I think it's being able to utilise those relationships. And it's not just government to government. I think it's really important to note with the Commonwealth, it's a lot of the people-to-people links. There's a huge range of organisations, civil society organisations that operate effectively across the Commonwealth to tackle challenges that we all collectively face, and those people-to-people links are really important as well. So there's a lot of benefits to this Commonwealth family.
Interesting. So let's talk about the summit next year. So just to be 100% sure, it's next year. Do you have the month, the dates for the summit, and how it's going? The preparation so far, is everything coming together?
Yes, the proposal was made for next year in June. I understand that has been widely communicated now. So a year-long delay, unfortunately. I mean, in terms of preparation, we'd have to ask the government of Rwanda. It's their CHOGM. They're doing a fantastic job on planning and bringing everything together, working closely with the Commonwealth Secretariat. We, of course, as Chair Office, are working closely and helping wherever we're asked to. But yeah, the government here are leading on things and doing a good job. So I wouldn't like to step on their toes too much in terms of answering for that one.
So who to expect from UK will be leading the delegation?
So as with all member states, we expect it will be at head of state level. So the Prime Minister, whoever he or she may be at that point. Obviously, that isn't confirmed. Same with all member states, and we are in the COVID context currently. But I fully expect it will be head of state level. Like I said, given our role as chair in office and the importance of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting.
So you mentioned COVID, and I just want to ask, how important this summit is, in specifically with the backdrop of COVID going on around the world, and how important is this summit?
I think it's very important. I mean, firstly, as far as I'm aware, it's the first summit that's planned to hopefully not be virtual. In terms of the scale, it's obviously a large summit. Things can change. I hope they don't, but things can and may change. But I really hope that is the case, and it's certainly the ambition. And I think it's critical to continue to tackle COVID as a global challenge, and using the more available is really important in that sense. And so I think in the context of COVID, it makes the heads of government meeting the opportunity for heads of state to come together to discuss progress made since the last CHOGM, look at delivery made on those commitments, and then look at how we can tackle coronavirus collectively is going to be really important. But there's a lot of wider issues to discuss as well, of course.
So what's the time of the summit actually, and what's on the agenda?
So the theme of the summit is delivering a common future. I'm just going to check my notes to make sure that I relate properly. Yes, connecting, innovating and transforming is the theme set by the government of Rwanda, of course. And there are some sub-themes beneath that which I think will shape the event. They are ICT and innovation, governance and rule of law, youth, the environment, and trade and investment. So really fantastic kind of cross-section of themes that will be the focus. Again, you'd need to kind of speak to the government of Rwanda in terms of the prep for the themes and for what they're focusing on, as it is their lead, and like I said, they're doing a fantastic job of bringing it together. But those are the overarching themes that have been discussed so far.
And you just mentioned youth, and what role in general you see the youth playing or having part of this summit?
Yeah, youth is very important as a kind of a key theme in the Commonwealth. Youth was a key aspect of the 2018 CHOGM in London, and as I understand it, will be an important part of the CHOGM 2021 in Kigali. Like I said, the Commonwealth has over 1 billion of the world's young people in it, and there's huge opportunity to unleash the opportunity that you have from having such a young population. And I think it's about bringing member states to ensure that knowledge and skills and experience are made available to the youth of the Commonwealth. And that the youth are given a platform to speak about important issues. Like I said, some of those key themes being some of those issues. And there will also be a youth forum, is my understanding. So as you will probably be aware, the Heads of Government meeting is also coupled with a range of forums over the course of the CHOGM week itself. And the youth forum is a fantastic opportunity to bring together youth and young civil society members and organisations across the Commonwealth to discuss, again, some of those biggest challenges that the world is facing at the moment.
And what role do we see the private sector playing in the summit and the conversation that are going to be had at the summit?
The private sector and business will be a big part of the summit, is my understanding. There's proposals for a business forum, which takes place at most CHOGMs. The business forum is almost an event in itself now. It's a big three-day event, it tends to be, bringing together government representatives, wider business from across the Commonwealth, and other organisations to make those business-to-business links, to discuss how we can enhance trade and investment across the Commonwealth, and to really, like I said, work on those direct linkages that are available. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and we normally see some excellent outcomes from the business forums in past CHOGMs, and I hope we will again next year.
I just want to remind everybody, if you have questions, please send them now. So we'll start asking them to just make sure we ask all the questions as possible people are sending. So I just want to turn a little bit on the work of the embassy in Rwanda. If you don't mind telling us a little bit, what sector are you working in Rwanda, and what's been the work of the United Kingdom in Rwanda for the last more than 20 something years when you opened the British High Commissioner to Rwanda?
Yeah, well, I mean, the UK and Rwanda have a really special and important partnership. And as you say, Yannick, the High Commission here opened well over 20 years ago. And the UK is the second biggest donor to Rwanda, and since 1998 have contributed over £1 billion in development support. And we're still extremely committed to our partnership moving forward, working in areas like helping to focus on learning, education outcomes, government institutions, and supporting economic development. So move to a vibrant kind of private sector-led economy. I think that point's really important. I mentioned the £1 billion figure over the past kind of 22, 23 years. But now it's really more of a partnership than Rwanda being an aid recipient. And it's about working on that partnership, working on business and investment opportunities for the mutual benefit of the UK and Rwanda. And we're making some really good progress, which is fantastic.
You just mentioned private sector. I'm wondering what's foreign investment from UK look like in Rwanda? You have British companies investing in Rwanda, I'm assuming. What that looks like?
Yeah, we do. My understanding is that the UK is currently the second largest investor in Rwanda, actually. And we actually have more than 150 British companies registered here, which is fantastic. and they cover a very wide range of sectors. The UK firms are the biggest investors in renewable energy sector, for example, and the tea sector, with Unilever being a big investor here. And there's also a range of UK companies focusing in the financial sector. So PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, and others are leading the growth of financial services sector in Rwanda, working closely with the UK's Development Finance Institution, which is known as the CDC. So really looking to position Rwanda as a business and financial market to operate in. So there's some good stuff happening in the investment sector.
Yeah, and in terms of trade?
Trade, yeah, bilateral trade is strong. It's not huge, but it's strong. I believe it was around £35 million in 2019, and continues. There's been a slight dip, obviously, as we've seen globally with coronavirus. I understand that the UK has a small surplus, so we export to Rwanda more than we import, which is something that we'll be looking to work on. There's fantastic opportunities for import, particularly with the Rwanda direct link now, which is really beneficial to trade opportunities. So yeah, there's trade and investment happening. We've recently established a presence in Rwanda with our Department for International Trade, which again is a fantastic move, and one that really signifies the uptick that we're hoping to pursue on trade and investment opportunities between our countries.
So I just want to a little bit ask in terms of, I mean, the news, Dfid emerging with Foreign Service Office. What drives the emergency of both offices, and what's the impact it will have on international development around the world?
Yeah, as you say, the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, as we are now known, came into effect as of the 2nd of September this year. And the decision to merge the former Department for International Development and Foreign and Commonwealth Office was one which was made by the Prime Minister himself, and was really with the vision to combine our development and diplomatic expertise to really harness the best of our international efforts. And be more than the sum of our parts. I think previously there was a feeling that we maybe operated in silos a bit more, and this is really to enable a strong focus on joint priorities, and to be able to make sure that those relations that we have and the impact we have on some of the biggest challenges and opportunities that we face internationally sees the UK as a real force for good on the international stage. And so the Prime Minister made that move, looking to bring that expertise together to safeguard and promote British interests and values overseas, and to build on the bilateral relationships that we have across the world, including, of course, with Rwanda.
Yeah. So, of course, we have to talk about Brexit, a little bit. What's the impact of Brexit on Africa and also on Rwanda, in your view?
It's obviously slightly difficult to say, but I would like to think actually it will be a fairly limited impact. I certainly don't think that we will see necessarily a negative impact. We're going through a process now whereby we are looking to transition the range of agreements that we had with partners across the continent via the EU. But we're doing so in a way that either improves those agreements or maintains the status quo with those agreements. One good example being, of course, the trade agreements that we have across the continent, which are very important. I'm really pleased to say that Rwanda will continue to have duty-free and quota-free access to UK markets. So in that sense, it will not have a detrimental impact to our trade and investment relationship. And actually, I think in some areas it will give us more flexibility. So we will continue, I have no doubt, to work very closely with our European partners and friends, but it also gives us flexibility to focus on our own partnerships with African states, like I said, including Rwanda, not just on areas of trade and investment, but security and democracy and other areas. And so it does give a bit more freedom as well. So like I said, I think it's a real opportunity more than anything else.
Yeah. All right. So we're running out of time. So just the last question, looking at what Rwanda has achieved in the last 26 years, what lesson do you think the world can learn from Rwanda? And, you've been here for a month. What impressed you about the country so far?
Wow, that's a really good question. Yes, I've been here just over a year now, and COVID aside, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been fantastic to get to know the people, to get to know the country, and to work with the British High Commission here, working closely with the government of Rwanda. So I've had a fantastic year so far, and hope that may continue. I mean, in terms of your question was around what Rwanda has achieved and what lessons the world can learn. I mean, I think it's a very inspirational message and journey, and the world can learn many lessons from the hugely impressive development and progress that Rwanda have made from, as we all know, coming at basically the bottom of every human development indicator following 1994. And I think it's really a message of hope to some countries who may be in a difficult position currently. There's still some way to go, of course, for Rwanda on its journey, and still some challenges that the country and the government face that I know that they're working on. But the progress has been hugely impressive. And so, like I said, I think if anything, for countries who are struggling or in a difficult place themselves, it's certainly a model that people will want to emulate in years to come, because it's been quite impressive, really, the progress that's been made. And like I said, an absolutely beautiful country and lovely place to live and work.
Great. So we run out of time. So Ben, thank you very much for joining us today at Kigali Foreign Affairs Council. Always good to have you, and thanks for the discussions. Very interesting to learn about the Commonwealth and the work you're doing in Rwanda. But thank you so much for your time, and everybody, thank you for joining us today. There's more events coming. Please check the website, and see you next time. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Yannick. Thanks, everyone.